One time, at a formal networking event, I saw two people talking, and the girl was doing all the talking, explaining, and oversharing. It seemed so wholesome. And I was like, dude, how are they even doing that? How they get people to talk a lot very easily? Because whenever I talk to someone, they keep pulling out their phone as if I were a bore. Or worse, I get pretty basic responses like, yes, sure, nothing much. And then silence. Let's say you're in a gathering, maybe a concert or a family gathering. You're standing with a cousin you barely know. You ask the normal question, so what do you do? They respond, oh, I'm into drop shipping. Real roller coaster. The tension begins to rise because your brain goes, okay, now what? And you can already feel the awkward silence coming. So instead of asking another boring question, do something different. Look at him and you say, roller coaster. Interesting. What makes it that way? And everything just flows. If he was going to pull out his phone, he wouldn't anymore. And he gets right into talking because I just did something powerful by literally borrowing happiness from other areas of their lives, bringing it to that very moment and giving them permission to tell a story about it. Amazing, isn't it? I know this because, honestly, answering boring and repetitive questions feels like carrying boulders on my head. So I guess it wouldn't be any different for them. So if you want someone to talk a lot, start asking questions that force them to draw from their happy experiences to the present moment. For example, if someone says, I just got a new job, most people respond with, wow, that's good to know. And that kills it. But you respond with, whoa, that's nice. You seem so excited. What's the nature of your job? Now they have to think, then they start talking. Because you've opened a door. Want to know another trick? To sustain the conversation, you have to match the energy they give out. Widen your smile. Lean in more. For instance, instead of saying, that's cool, say, I'm really impressed. Or, that must have been disappointing for you. And once you say that, they don't just continue. They expand, because now you make them feel heard. You see, the bottom line is most conversations die not because you're boring. It's because you ask questions to fill silence. But the real power comes when you ask to shut up and listen. You ask a question, they answer. Then you immediately ask another question like you're stacking up piles of crates. And it begins to feel interrogative. So slow down. When they answer, pick one small thing they said and zoom in on it. If they say, I used to live in Detroit, you don't say, oh, okay. You say, Detroit? What did you like the most about the place? You just open a door. You don't need a clever question. Just repeat their last three words. Suddenly, they're writing the rest of the story themselves because that small pause gives room to continue. So they'll add extra details. They'll overshare. And that's what everyone wants. And for the final trick, try to learn from them. Don't fake it. They will love how you make them feel like the expert. So you say, how do you know so much? What made you start? What's the hardest part about it? And now they're all in. They'll chat away like they're on a show with Jimmy Fallon. These small moves I mentioned, repeating words, matching energy and strategic pausing, turn boring chats into nonstop conversations. If you want to master starting conversations with total strangers even when your mind goes blank, check my next video. Link in the comments. Hit subscribe so you don't miss these practical techniques and educative videos in the future. Drop a comment. Which technique will you try next?